Against the ropes, number one.
Welcome to another episode of Against the Ropes. I am Giovanni Garcia. I am alongside Christian Mosqueda and Christian Rodriguez. What up, y'all?
So, guys,
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Let's go.
So, run down our topics, guys. We're going to talk about what did we learn in the month of October. We're going to talk about the Jacobs Davidchenko fight, the November Fest fight schedule. We're going to talk about Fight Night Series. I know Chris has been big about that video game and the potential of getting another one, 2019. And then we're going to talk about any random news, you know, in the universe of boxing. So let's start with it. What did we learn in October? Start with you, Chris.
With me, Al Heyman doesn't have to be outside showing his face talking
At all? Like even
at
less
all.
now.
It's Halloween. He's the ghost.
He's the ghost and he's still making moves, you know.
Man.
People criticize him, but at the end of the day, he's making the right moves, right? He
Mhm.
has Fox and Showtime. He landed Pacquiao. So when you think about the most popular divisions are either heavyweight,
Mm-hmm.
welterweight, or middleweight.
Yeah.
And he has everybody in the 147 division right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I learn? He has everybody for 147 for this upcoming 2019 year.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about it in the past with Terrence Crawford. He's on an island alone. Like,
Yeah.
if he wants it, like, you know, leave a mark on his legacy, he's gonna have to jump ship, you know, and go over with Hal.
And it looks like it's like a reincarnation of Mayweather versus Pacquiao all over again. In this
Mhm.
case, Pacquiao being Terrence Crawford, right? And in this case, Errol Spence being Mayweather, right? So more than likely, you're going to hear the marinating word.
Yeah.
How long? Because that fight, I'm mentally ready. That's not going to happen in the next 2 or
Mhm.
3 years.
And we saw it in the news where they specifically said, like, Terrence Crawford is not in our plans.
Yeah, the vice president of the Premier Boxing Championship said that he's not in their plans, in their business plans.
Yeah.
That's the key word,
And
business
when
plans.
we saw those news, I knew Chris, you smiled. You were like, talked about
yeah,
this.
scratching my head. That's what your brother said, right?
Yep.
Go for it, Chris. What did you
So
learn?
What did I learn in October? I learned that the zone is got pockets and they're making moves and they're making, you know, they're stacking their buy calendar. I don't think there's ever been a year where you feel like there's gonna be like this many fights, and like you already know the zone just by these last 2 months or these, you know, the last months. They have like card after card every month, and now since it's a subscription based, they need to stack their cards every month.
Yeah, and
to
that's just
keep-
leading to what I learned in October was
Mhm.
that the new era has begun.
Yeah.
Like you said, all
Yeah.
the new signings, all the potential fights that we're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like this month basically is like the blueprint of what's going to happen for the year 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you learned?
Something that I learned is that the era of pay-per-view it's like a 50-50 with that. I feel like it was about to end, but they're still putting out pay-per-view, so it's like we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with that, because you're gonna have that subscription base, but there's still gonna be some pay-per-views here and there, and so we just gotta wait and see what happens with that. You know, Canelo was the pay-per-view, you know, star, and now he's gone to subscription based. So we gotta kind of wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think another thing that I learned is that when we saw Floyd Mayweather get paid, there was no other athlete get paid like that.
Yeah.
And now we have another athlete in the same sport, in this case Canelo Alvarez, get paid similar to Floyd Mayweather, right? And now he's going to be taking over boxing over the next 5 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And he's going to get paid more and more. So just like Floyd Mayweather, he's going to get paid a lot. And a lot of people are going to be jealous, but other athletes are going to be more noticeable that maybe I should participate in the world of sports of boxing.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because I was just thinking, I was looking over some videos on YouTube, and I happened to come across the Legendary Nights HBO,
Mhm.
and I was focusing on the Meldrick Taylor Chavez Jr. fight, and I remember they're talking about that Meldrick was part of that Olympic team that won about 8 or 9 gold medals. And I'm like, dang, like the U.S. won 8 to 9 like gold medals like back in the late 80s, and then poof, like it just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So it's like, hopefully this whole mainstream thing makes, the youth want to get back into boxing and, rekindle that love for the sport, that passion to want to be like champions here in the States. So
Yeah.
hopefully we see that.
And that also leads into what I learned in October which was there's still a lot of money in boxing, right? We saw the Canelo deal. We see Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao talking about a rematch. So we know there's a lot of money still going around. There's still a lot of investors.
Yeah.
We know Al Heyman's still going to be a big player. And we know that boxing is now going to be on regular television or on, easily accessible platforms like DAZN,
Yeah, I'm not
ESPN Plus.
I'm not all surprised that Mayweather wants to come back. He sees a new platform, a new avenue to make money. His alias is Money Mayweather, so he's gonna want to cash in, and whether it's like a multi-fight deal or fight by fight.
I mean, it'll be interesting because if he does able to fight Khabib, if it does happen, we know that fighter. But at the same time, too, will he be able to do his formula, right, of low risk and high reward, whether it still can operate in today's boxing? So we'll see if that is able to matriculate this upcoming year. If he does want to return in the world sport and fight Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Because I think to him, that's still low risk.
Yeah. Something else I learned in this month of October was that HBO is going out like fighting. Like we thought that they were done this month, but now we see that they have scheduled shows November and then December, and so it's like, they're not going out like just flat out. I guess they want to put on a few more shows, and I don't know. I don't think I'm completely convinced that December is their last show. They might surprise us with a few more. Who knows? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I also learned that, guys are taking more risks now in terms of fighting better opponents. Like that O is going to go for a lot of guys. We hear the rumors of Mikey Garcia against Errol Spence. We see Wilder taking on Tyson Fury next month. And we see more guys like calling each other out. And like you said, Al Heyman has all these welterweights. So these guys are going to have to fight each other.
Yeah.
So with all the deals and all the signings and all the networks, I think that's a good sign. We're going to see a lot more.
And that's going to help us define
fights.
Who's number one pound for pound fighter. Over the past 5 or 4 years, it's really hard. We already know who it was, Floyd Mayweather. But now it's like when you have the best fighters fighting against each other, we're able to base it with who they fought.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about the top 10 pound for pound list, let's say 10 years ago, who was on it? Floyd Mayweather Jr.,
Manny
Juan Manuel
Pacquiao.
Marquez, Manny Pacquiao, Sergio Martinez.
Probably
Who else was on there?
Miguel
The
Cotto.
Klitschko's, Miguel Cotto. These are all legendary names, right?
Yeah.
And these guys all lost, except for Mayweather. They all lost important fights in their careers. They all didn't have that O, but the fact that they were taking that risk of fighting big names kind of put them on that platform, right? So it was kind of easier to determine that list. And I feel like next year, this is a good sign. Next year, I think hopefully moves in that direction.
And I think let's talk. I think you're right about that. If you have Netflix, right? A lot of people have Netflix, but it only works depending on what type of quantity, not the quality, how many stuff it's already on, right? So new stuff has to be there, and it better be good, right? So that's one thing that I'm observing with companies like DAZN. Not about the quantity. I'm talking about the quality, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, it's going to be interesting who they try to match up with all the middleweight fighters that they have. So hopefully, in this case, we're going to see the best fighters fight.
Yeah.
Because the networks are going to have to convince these fighters and the promoters that you have to fight the best ones, because this is all based on subscription.
Yeah. And that's something that maybe like HBO maybe failed in the past.
Yeah.
They didn't put that pressure as much as people like feel like they could have to make those the best fights possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys mentioned it too, because like we already mentioned how Heyman having all the welterweights, but the zone right now is stacked with middleweights.
Middleweights,
They're
right?
stacked.
So there's so many options and there's so many fights that can be
Mhm.
made.
And we could talk about that in our next topic right now regarding Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, or you want to just move forward?
You got anything else?
I think that's some of the.
So
Mhm.
basically,
How would you rate the month of October before we move on?
It was good.
out of 10, or are you
Yeah.
talking about like
Like
a
compared
word?
to other months, because last month was very good.
September. Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a very good month. We had Porter against Danny Garcia. We had, of course, Canelo against Triple G.
It- To me, dude, a 10 because of what
Yeah.
happened outside the ring.
Yeah, outside the ring there was a lot
Yeah,
of
definitely.
moves. Yeah,
You know me, I'm always outside about the ring. You know.
Yeah, no, I feel like you can't compare like in the ring October to September because September is a big Mexican like.
Yeah,
month,
right.
so
Yeah,
there's always
you're-
gonna be big
yeah,
fights
because in
around that.
September it was about the fights.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Triple G and Canelo,
Mhm.
Anthony Joshua versus Povetkin,
Yeah.
and then this month that just happened in October,
Yeah.
it was about Canelo news.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like October is like the
Like the
aftermath,
aftermath
of what
of that.
happens in the ring.
Yeah.
So, but there were
Canelo
so many
fit.
moves that it was good. You
Yep.
know, with Canelo, with with the Jacobs, with HBO, all this stuff going on. So it was good because it just puts up a platform for what's to happen.
And you guys know how serious I am. I have a happy face, so I'm really excited about what's been
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we mentioned in previous shows too that every time before we start the show, there is always breaking news.
Right.
Yeah.
In October,
Yeah.
always breaking news.
Mhm.
Whether it was Canelo with the zone, whether it was this guy fighting this guy potentially,
Mhm.
a lot of news are just popping up out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it kind of used that momentum of September
It did.
and kept it going in October
Mhm.
and November. What do we have for November?
Ooh.
We have a lot, and we'll go over it later on. But since we were talking about the potential matchups in the
middleweight.
160 division, so did you saw the fight of Daniel Jacobs?
So I didn't see it live, but I was able to see it afterwards, and yeah, it was a pretty competitive fight.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of like a potential fight of the year.
Yeah.
Both fighters knew each other basically
Mhm.
because they both train with the same
Yeah.
trainer, and you can clearly see it.
Yeah. No,
Clearly.
yeah, like you could see obviously Davidchenko, he was being an aggressive fighter,
Yeah.
he knew he had to like kind of break him down, I like how Jacobs fought. He was backpedaling, but I feel like he was still one step ahead, countering pretty well, landing really good shots. They both had their moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel like Jacobs like etched it out.
You think he looked good for a potential? You think just overall, Daniel
Overall.
Jacobs, did he look good?
I like how he looked. Obviously, he wasn't fighting like a Triple G caliber fighter. He wasn't fighting like a Canelo, but I thought he looked solid. I think he looks solid for when he fights the Charlos.
Okay, so I also want to talk about it. You already know what's my definition of fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
so let's go into that
Yeah.
section. Fantasy, who do you want? Besides the promoters, step away. You want to make it
Oh.
Daniel Jacobs right now? Who do you want?
Who do I want Jacobs to fight next?
Just in general, yeah.
without no okay.
No controversy or
The
politics.
Charlos.
I would like to
You
see
want
the
that
Charlos.
that
Yeah.
Brooklyn fight?
I like to see the Charlos.
Yeah,
Because I've seen a video of that Brooklyn fight, and that one would be a good fight.
that one was sell.
That's a good barometer of a very good veteran fighter against a nice up and coming youth, athletic fighter in the Charlo. So I
and
feel like that would
I
be a good
always like
fight.
for guys to earn their stripes before they
Mhm.
can get a big name like Canelo and Triple G.
Mhm.
In the case of Jacobs, yeah, he fought Triple G already, but he lost that fight.
Yeah.
So I feel like he needs another fight to kind of get him back in that same
Like in the mix. Mhm.
Yeah.
So do you think? Then let's be realistic, right?
Mhm.
With who Daniel Jacobs could fight. So I'll give you guys the names, and you guys could come up with your solution.
Mhm.
So Matchroom Boxing, right? They have Demetrius Andrade. He's one of the holders of the 160 belt. Then they also have Daniel Jacobs, right? And they also have Billy Joe Saunders, the guy who talks a lot but doesn't actually do a lot of stuff outside the ring, right? Which
Yeah.
you got to compose yourself, be professional.
Mhm.
So
He
then
does
you
a lot of nonsense outside the ring.
right.
Yeah.
And then you have the other promoter that's working with the zone. In this
Mhm.
case, Golden Boy Promotions. They have Canelo Alvarez and David Lemieux. So just from those two promoters, Golden Boy and Matchroom Boxing, Demetrius Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, David Lemieux, who do you want to match up, realistically speaking,
With those four?
with those four for the next potential fight for Daniel Jacobs?
So you said Canelo,
Say Canelo,
Lemieux,
Lemieux, and Andrade,
Andre.
Demetrius.
I like to see
You
Andre.
also said Billy Joe, right?
Billy
and
Joe,
Billy
yeah.
Joe.
Mhm.
I like to see him fight Billy Joe Saunders because I want to see
You
Billy
want-
Joe Saunders fight against a top guy.
That's true. And we wanted to see Billy Joe obviously against Andre, and that didn't happen because of stuff that happened, outside the ring. But
So you want Billy, Gio?
Billy, yeah.
And who do you want, Chris?
I say Andre, just because Andre has it. He's yet to, other than Eubank Jr., he's yet to face someone, that can test him.
So one thing I do want to mention, and we'll talk about this later on towards the end of the show, but I think we should knock out David Lemieux because he is going to be fighting on the undercard of Canelo. So take away Canelo, because you know how usually fighters fight.
Is his opponent to be determined still? Or?
I think I have it somewhere. But I think more than likely it's going to look like it's going to be probably Demetrius Adondre, just because they could unify the division.
Mm-hmm.
They could unify the division right there. Those two fighters, whoever comes out, have one belt from those two, and then you can have a potential big unification if you want to bring, let's say the zone does sign Triple G, and have them fight each other in May and have a 160 undisputed fight in September.
Yeah.
You never know.
Never know.
So that's that. But I did saw Danny Jacobs fight. He looked really good, but I still didn't know who was Derevchenko. It was my first time actually seeing him fight. But I'm just always curious with what's next.
Yeah.
What's next? And Daniel Jacobs, it'll be interesting what he's going to do next. But to me, my opinion, I think he's going to fight Demetrius Adondre. It just makes sense.
Yeah, that one makes sense. And it's a good barometer for both men.
Yeah.
Who do you favor in that one?
Adondre, he's a good fighter, but he looks really sloppy at times. And he hasn't been tested.
It's true.
He hasn't been tested, and I think Jacobs, for him, it means more. He wants to prove himself at this stage right now, and Andrade can wait. And I think Jacobs has more to lose right now because he knows he wants that big money fight that he's been asking for.
Yeah.
And that money fight was not against Triple G. That money fight is with Canelo Alvarez.
It's like any big money fights with Canelo.
Anything you want to add, Gio?
No. I don't care about Jacobs that much.
Okay. What happens if he does fight Canelo Alvarez?
What happens?
What do you see happening with that?
I think he loses easily.
Oh, shh.
I think Triple G had too much respect for him. I thought that was a simple fight for Triple G, but I think the respect he had for him didn't allow him to let his hands go, because he knocked him down with one punch, and after that he wasn't really that aggressive. I think Canelo is more naturally aggressive. Well, that's what surprised me though, because Triple G is an aggressive fighter.
To me,
in that fight he didn't really show that.
To me, what I've noticed is I know Triple G's getting older, and I feel like he's starting to respect people's skills and their power, because he respected
Canelo
Jacob.
Doesn't give a fuck. There's so much media talk like that. I feel like in his last fights there's been so much media talk that he just goes in there trying to take the dude's head off. We saw that against Triple G in the second fight.
But I honestly believe that Canelo Alvarez he didn't win all out against Miguel Cotto. I think he showed a lot of respect to Miguel Cotto.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I think he showed a lot of respect, because there's times where he could have, you just felt like he could have unleashed a little bit more power shots, and he
didn't.
But I think if Jacobs was 10 pounds under his weight on fight night, I don't think he's a really top level guy, because we saw what he did against Triple G.
Right, I know. I think he was. I think he. He lost his belt. I think he weighed in at 180.
Yeah, he didn't respect that weight class. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens, and more than likely we're gonna hear more news with Triple G. I think once Triple G signs with somebody, the dominoes effect is gonna come down for the zone. They could do all their fantasy matches with one another. So we went over October, all the news that happened outside, and today is the first day of November. So I'm just gonna go over some of these, and then we can just elaborate on all of them. There are 2 dates that I'm pretty sure you guys gonna be like, why did you even bother putting them? Just hang in there. I'll tell you why. So the first one, and we're gonna talk about this next week. This one's gonna be next Friday. Next Friday, November 9th, the Contender, the finale
Yes.
in the middleweights. So that's on Epic. So if you guys don't have Epics, you can start your 14-day free trial
I thought you were gonna start with November 3rd,
November 3rd
right?
on ESPN.
No, that's Saturday, right? November 3rd is what, Saturday?
We're calling our fights.
Well, we're gonna
Yeah,
put that.
All-Star
Yeah,
boxing.
we're gonna save that towards the end.
Say the best for last.
Yeah, we'll save the best for last. So November 9, next Friday, right? The Contender finale. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's such a dope show, and it goes back to like how boxing has become popular.
Mm-hmm.
Because that show used to come out several. This is the fifth season. And
Yeah.
you have Freddie Roach, Nassim Richardson. Which, by the way, when we first did our first podcast, you were talking about, who should Danny Garcia switch trainer? Him, because
Nassim?
he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, that
So-
seems a good trainer.
Match made in heaven. But let's see if Angel Garcia steps aside. And I say step aside, even the
Yeah.
cocaine too. So November 10th.
Fucking All-Star?
He's part of the team too, believe it or not. Oh man, he doesn't even shy away from saying it either to him. After November 9th, November 10th,
You know, my bad. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go
but
ahead.
He's like LeVar Ball right now. Like, you don't even hear about him, huh?
Angel Garcia.
Yeah, you don't even
I
hear
mean,
about
we
his,
could, you know what we could do? We could talk about it like 10 minutes. Some of his most ridiculous interviews, some of his most crazy. Like one of his craziest comments was when he said, Danny Garcia is the new cash cow.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
LOL.
Should I put my Puerto Rican flag down on that?
Guy has sold 0 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Put that down, Don.
Big time. So November 10th. I'm so pumped up for this fight. Usyk versus Bellew.
That's gonna be a good fight.
And on the zone, that fight is going to be such a fire fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about Teddy Atlas fire, dude. I'm talking about real fire. Like these two fighters, to me, this fight right here is gonna, you know what I said when we were talking about in the first podcast about who are our pound for pound fighters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this fight right here, creeping in, popping
Yeah.
in for one of my top pound for pound fighters for 5 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be exciting.
When was that again?
November 10th. So not
November
this
10th?
Saturday, but the following Saturday.
What
Yeah.
network?
The Zone.
The Zone.
The Zone.
So we'll be
November
looking at
10th, The
this
Zone.
in our phones and our.
What's the venue?
I believe
know?
it's in Manchester.
All right. So it's going to start early, huh?
Yeah, it probably starts like at 2:00 because that's the same time it started with Joshua and Povetkin. So
Mhm.
so you don't have to wake up early like the Premier League teams. All right, so we're good. And then November 16th, you got Maurice Hooker versus Alex Susuedo. So I know this is like, who are these guys? But this is the 140. All right. But Alex Susuedo, I want you guys to pay attention with what's going on with this. So this fight is going to be on ESPN. Both fighters are with Top Rank. All right.
Mhm.
I already told you guys the analysis regarding Terrence Crawford, how he literally has nobody.
Yeah.
This guy, Alex, he's 28-0. If Terrence Crawford cannot find anybody to fight,
It's gonna be that guy.
he might be him.
Mm.
And he's at 140, so he's gonna probably have to.
The 140 is kind of dead right now.
It
huh?
is.
Yeah.
The 140 division is really dead. So for Alex, he might have to
Move up.
move up and take a L fighting against Terrence Crawford. Sad boy, but that sucks if that's the case, and that's gonna end up happening.
Mikey's skipping that weight class, right? If he fights Errol?
If he fights Arrow, he's gonna have
Yeah.
to move up to.
Yeah, because he didn't fight at 140 because there's no
He
real-
did fight
real
Sergio
fight.
Lipnitz for the
Mhm.
140
Oh, that was
bout.
140?
That was
That was
140.
his only fight, right?
Yeah.
For
And he
140, yeah.
vacated.
And then he vacated.
He better, get at that title.
Yep. Either money or title for Mike Garcia. That's his formula. No
Mhm.
mandatories. So the next day, November 17th, the Zone undercard. This is just a bunch of fighters fighting different fighters. Jarrell Baby Miller, Bam Bam Brandon Rios, Clarissa Shields, Gabe Rosado, and Ricky Burns. And all of them are going to be fighting in Kansas.
Interesting.
Yep.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Who's the headliner?
Gerald Miller, the heavyweight, the American heavyweight.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's American. He's trying to call out, trying to buy out, trying to talk his way to try to fight Anthony Joshua. So we'll see what happens with that.
That's
And
interesting. Kansas.
Well, because there's actually a young fighter on the undercard, not naming these fighters that I mentioned, that's from Kansas.
Hmm.
And then they have Brandon Rios.
Yeah, Brandon Rios too.
So they could try to make money from that. And they try to
Mhm.
like go, because I believe their first venue fight for the Zone was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Chicago, and then the next one was in Boston. So they're trying to go into like in Kansas.
So that's Kansas City, right?
I believe so.
You
So
know
that's-
Kansas City's not in Kansas? Did you know that?
I don't know. The more
Kansas
you
City,
know.
Missouri.
There you go. So that's November 17. Then on November 20, it's time to go to the movies and watch Creed 2.
Oh,
Ooh.
Creed 2. So that should be really interesting. I heard
that
Andre
is,
Ward.
when is that?
November 20. Yeah, I heard Andre Ward
Oh,
fights.
so it's not coming on Thanksgiving.
It's during the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the.
So Chris, you gotta get us the tickets for us, bro.
Hmm?
You gotta get us the tickets for us.
Tickets.
No,
Yes,
we're
sir.
getting ready for that one for sure.
It's gonna be a night out for sure. I'm gonna have to watch it probably twice or 3 times during
yeah.
that week for sure. It'll be interesting what happens. But I heard Andre Ward is in the movie and he gets
He gets out.
his ass whooped.
Well, he was in the first one. He was what, like, regarded as the pound for pound.
Remember that
Number
scene
1 or
where
2?
he's like, "I'm next." Remember when he was talking about
Mhm.
Adonis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So
He's-
so Andre's probably gonna be Drago's like example.
No, I think he's gonna fight Adonis.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, I think he fights Adonis. We'll see what happens. Well, it's sweet. The Son of God is out there making movies. And then November 20, you got Dimitri Bivol versus Jean Pascal on
Good
HBO.
fight.
This is what you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Bivol,
I used to promote Pascal.
Pascal, man. When I think about Pascal, man, it's how embarrassing when Bernard Hopkins beat him up in
Man.
his own place.
Yeah.
And then here it
I
is.
couldn't buy the judges that day.
November 30, Jeff Horn versus Anthony Modine. This is on ESPN Plus. Why do I bring up him? Because
Mhm.
if Bob Arum does not have any other fighter, he already know what's going to happen. The rematch between Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn. But this time it's not going to be Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure this time it's going to be in Australia because they
Mhm.
can make a lot of money over there.
Yeah.
Because you know how it sold out, right, between Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. So I said those two fighters. Alex,
So you're saying that they will fight? You feel like they will fight again if they can find?
if they cannot find an opponent for Terrence Crawford, it's going to be Jeff Horn, or the winner between Jeff Horn, Anthony Modine, or it's going to be the winner between Maurice Hooker or Alex Suela, which more than likely might be Alex. So
Mhm.
between those two fights, it makes sense for Top Rank and Bob Arum to switch him up and fight Terrence Crawford if they
Mhm.
can't fight a
Yeah,
fighter,
'cause
which
they're
they're not.
Yeah, they're gonna have. Yeah, Horn's gonna have to have a big win, so Bob can even have a prayer of selling that fight because. Yeah.
Yeah, in like you mentioned, Gio, you're right. So on this Saturday, you want to go ahead and talk about the fights, November 3rd?
On November 3rd, we're gonna be live from the Quiet Cannon,
Quiet
right?
Cannon,
In
Montebello.
Montebello,
Live.
California. We'll link you guys up for that. They're gonna be streaming it live on Facebook. We're doing the ringside commentary. I think there's like 8 or 9 bouts
Mhm.
Right.
scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, what time we're gonna be there? Like at 3?
Oh, we're gonna be there early.
We'll get there
We're gonna
early.
be there early before the
We're
blue
gonna be
side
there all
arrives.
day. We're gonna be there when they're setting up the ring. I'll
Yeah.
take some video too.
Yeah, I really
Show
want to
people
interview the boxers.
what
it's
like.
Try to get to know them really personally and try to get some B-roll on that and some reporting on that because I'm really interested in like the day of the life besides just being a boxer. Like, do you
Yeah.
work?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm pretty sure some of these fighters have different jobs. You know, probably 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's crazy because you get to see that, for yourself. Because when people watch boxing, let's say on TV, or even if they go to the arena to watch boxing, they see the guy fight, he steps inside the ring, whatever, 30 minutes, and then he's out of the ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we actually see all the other stuff, right? We see all their families
Mhm.
in the crowd. We see their friends cheering for them. We see them after the fights.
Mhm.
Like you said, remember the guy after the fight said he had a big headache
yeah,
after he just had like the fight of the year.
Mhm.
you saw that
People
fight?
don't think about that.
Have you still watched it?
I've seen like one round.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it though for sure.
Yeah.
But those are the things that people don't see, and then just seeing them like walking there. A lot of guys like to test the ring out, like way before they even fight,
Mhm.
because like we said, there's 8 bouts, so these guys are like just waiting in the back.
Well, you
Mhm.
remember, Chris, that you saw one of the fighters helping up setting the ring,
Set up the ring,
and he was
yeah.
actually one of the fighters
And
fighting.
I was like, I think this guy's a fighter. We've called
Yeah.
his fights before, but I was like, maybe he's not fighting tonight. Nope, he was.
it was,
He just has another job.
yeah.
That's
So this is what
crazy.
these fighters have to do to make ends meet.
Yeah.
He was setting up the ring.
Then I remember last time when we were in the
Mhm.
restroom, I was waiting for you guys, and then we actually saw one of the fighters. He was gonna go use the restroom too, and he was just chilling. I was like, "Hey, you're fighting tonight, huh?" He's like, "Yeah,"
Mhm.
and he's like, "Why, you have a fighter or something?" I was like, "Oh no, we're doing the ringside commentary and all that stuff." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cool."
He
man.
said, "You want to do the interview right here?"
No, but see, like, I don't know if I like doing interviews like that because I know these guys are like they have to be very focused, right? Like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna
That's
fight,
true.
like honestly, I wouldn't want anybody talking to me. I'll probably just be there in the corner with my headphones on.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
chilling. That's
I
why-
just want to see how they are.
Yeah,
But now that you say that, now I have more sympathy.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Because he's there. He's
After
gonna go
the
use
fight.
the restroom.
Yeah,
You know? I'm not gonna interview him in the restroom.
After the fight is done, then I'll
Mhm.
talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good way.
Yeah,
So we
because-
do have like pre-questionnaires that we hand out just so we can get
Mhm.
to know them as well. They can answer whatever they want, you know. So that
Yeah,
that's
remember-
kind of like the
I think the first time I went with you, I was
Mhm.
telling Chris about it actually too.
Mhm.
Abraham Lopez. I think he's fighting on this card too.
Yeah.
He fights
I
out
think
of
I
the
saw
Wild
that.
Card Boxing Gym. That first time we had a little interview with him, and I have the audio too. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably play it later on, but it was just like so mellow. And we're just asking him questions like, oh, you know, how do you prepare for the fights? What do you do? Like, do you have any rituals before the fights?
Yeah.
And he was saying like, yeah, I just like listen to music. And he's like, I think he said like I listen to like Indian music or something.
Mhm.
Like he just puts it like really low on his
Mhm.
headphones and just like
Indian music?
yeah,
It's
it's just
funny
like
c-
meditation.
No,
for, like,
I
just
actually
chilling, dude.
I actually do that.
Yeah,
You want to listen to it? A little bit? I'm not lying.
we
We'll pull it up after the
yeah,
show.
we'll post something up. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. November 3rd,
Number 3rd.
Saturday, Quiet Cannon, Montebello. We're giving out 2 free tickets.
And we're gonna announce the winner later today.
Yeah,
the
we're
show.
Yeah, so if you missed out, you missed out.
Oh, so this is what you listen
Is
to?
that Naseem Hamed?
No. Usually I listen to this.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw this song with one of the top knockouts of the year.
Mm.
So it was this one guy just putting like combinations, and you see like the top knockouts. I think
Yeah.
one of them was Adrian Broner getting knocked out against Marcos
That
Maidana.
was beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I like, yeah. So good taste for seeing people get knocked out. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that this Saturday. Man, it's such an awesome experience to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to go around and ask, what's your favorite part of it? Because we see
Okay.
so much, dude. We see like people get
You go
knocked
ahead,
out
Chris.
like
I gotta think about
right
it.
in front of us. We see people with interesting ring entrances. We see people with like interesting outfits.
Mhm.
Like some guys go like in gym shorts,
yeah.
you know, because these guys are up and comers. So
Mhm.
they had like some faded ass socks and shit, and then you see them, they're like, man, this dude can't fight. But then when they step on the
Yeah.
ring, they fucking, you don't want to step in the ring with them. You
No,
know?
Yeah.
So
Let's see what.
yeah, what's your favorite part
what would
about
my
it?
favorite
Chris?
part be? I mean, easy answers like the fight itself, but I mean, it's just something about like what you said. Like you see them, you don't expect them to. You see their record. Sometimes their record is, you know, they have a lot of losses, so you kind of like, you know,
Right.
you're kind of taught not to write them off, but like a part of you just does it, like, you know. But then they show
Yeah,
you what they
I do
got,
it
and
all
you're
the
like,
time.
you're like, dang, like,
Remember last
kind of
time
fight.
the guy Art Sakian,
oh my
the wavy
goodness,
dude,
yeah,
he was like the best favorite.
my favorite. This guy had a lot of skills. We've seen him at a previous
Yeah,
fight.
he had a record of like what 4-0,
Mhm.
5-1, something like that.
yeah.
And then the guy he was facing had like a bunch of losses,
Mm-hmm.
and this dude got fucking rocked.
Yeah.
Any
He got-
given punch.
And you even punch.
Yeah, he got hit with one punch
Mhm.
in one round. It was like toward the end of the round.
Right.
And then he didn't even recover well because at the beginning of the next round he
No.
got caught again.
Yeah.
He was trying to get that knockdown back and he got caught again and that was
Yeah.
it.
I
He had
want
one
to.
of the biggest knockouts I've seen, man.
Yeah, you see how his opponent celebrated, man. He
Yeah.
reveled in that win. He needed that, you know. And it's the thing with these fighters, the ones that are counted out. How badly they need that
Right.
win, or how badly they need to look good at least in defeat, you know. Because if you look bad,
Yeah.
people double think like.
And I will
"Mm."
mention something about that if we do the Did
Yeah.
You Know segment later
Yeah.
on. Because I have a good one for that, for the journeyman.
You know,
Really?
another part that I like. Another part that I like is when the fight is over and when we're just like we're deciding who won, like that we're being the unofficial judges.
Yeah.
I like that because we're like, okay, we kind of know.
Yeah.
We want to see if those like the judges here are they fair, or
And
is
it's
it like?
also like
I like that.
it's a
part.
different view, dude,
Mhm.
because you're obviously sitting on one side of the ring
Yeah.
and they're fighting like literally like 10 feet in front of you,
Mhm.
right? So we might even be seeing like different things and like
Yeah.
somebody
And we have
else.
the power to manipulate.
I was gonna say that too. Like, we sit next to one judge,
Yeah.
and so he's listening to everything we're saying, and so we
Are they listening?
yeah,
Oh shit, I gotta
Yeah.
be more quiet.
and I feel like I think we're very impartial.
I
and
don't think
we're
we
very,
should be talking.
we see
Like boxing politics behind the
we
scenes.
see what we you know we see, and I think we try to be as fair as possible.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I just want to mention. I don't want
yeah.
to like sound cocky right now, but we get like every fight right.
Yeah.
If we say like,
Yeah.
oh, I think
I-
this
no.
looks like a draw,
We-
and then we see
yeah.
a draw happening.
Yeah.
We see, oh, I
Yeah.
think this guy barely won it, and then we see like a really close scorecard.
Yeah,
dude.
we're on it. I don't
Yeah.
read the comments.
Because we even if somebody gets like if one of the judges gets wrong, we call them out on it, right?
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
I
Especially
call him.
Chris.
I am not afraid to call him out. I got a second job. That's why I'm not afraid.
Chris is like, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. You
Yeah.
know? And then you say your points, and obviously they're listening. They're like, oh shit, this is my job. Like, kinda,
Right.
You know, gotta be on it. I like that. I definitely like that part.
Man,
Yeah.
that's been. Go ahead. You go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I think my favorite part was just like, you always talk about what happens outside the ring.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think that's my favorite part, dude. Like, you see all the families and all the friends getting together. They're cheering for their boxer,
Mm.
and even if they lose, dude, like
Yeah.
their families go like with them after and still like give them a hug.
Mhm.
You know, try to still cheer them on.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I remember. So on the last time that we did this, there was a fighter that had Adonis Creed trunks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were like, I think Chris noticed it. We're like, oh damn, like he was ready, focused, and this and that. And then, man, once he stepped in the ring, what happened, Chris?
Oh, with that one, I can't remember off the top of my
He got his ass knocked down, dude.
That's
it was
right.
a nasty knockout,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I was so scared, man. And that's the thing that happens with boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Remember one time we had when there was a girl fight?
Mm-hmm. Oh
We
yeah.
had one of the girls get knocked out like right in front of us.
Right next to us.
And
I
her
wasn't
he-
there.
Her
but
head,
you-
yeah, her head was like sticking like out the side of the ring,
wow.
and her eyes were like rolling back, and that shit happened like 5 feet away from us, dude.
Were you playing doctor or what? Were you just watching or what?
No, we had I think the photographer was
Was
like
right
trying
there.
to hold her up. 'Cause
Yeah.
She was like about to
Wow.
fall off, and then yeah, they took her on a stretcher
Mm-hmm.
after the
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy.
That
dude.
is crazy, dude.
Mhm.
Like that Sakya knockout.
Yeah.
You guys saw like my reaction, like when he got knocked down, dude. Like I was so stunned. I just took out my headsets,
Mhm.
and I don't know where I was gonna walk.
Yeah.
I was just so in disbelief, dude.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because like you see him, he got hurt like a previous round.
Yeah.
And you're like, he needs to even the round, but he needs to be careful because and then when you actually see like that favorite get rocked, you're like, whoa.
And the thing is, as soon as he got knocked down, that second one, right, the brutal one, right away, I saw him like, why are you getting up?
Dude, I was just about to
It's-
say
this
that.
is
This
hard.
guy actually tried to get up,
Why?
but
Take your
within
time.
seconds,
10
right?
yeah, he
You
had
try to-
he had
tried to get up
he had
right
10
away.
seconds. We wanted to get up within 1 second, dude.
Yeah, that's a lack of experience.
And that's also one of
No.
my favorite parts, dude, because you see their like a human's character once,
Mhm.
like when they're against the ropes, no pun intended, but when they're against the ropes, you see it up close how they react, dude.
You know what? And this is exactly what I've been talking about with a couple of
Mhm.
friends because they noticed that I've been boxing. Like that's why you see like a red check mark right here. But like in soccer, in football, and baseball, you could do that sport for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I'm talking about like you have a happy face.
Mm-hmm.
You're smiling. You're enjoying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No, when you're hitting the bags, dude. Oh, we see the competitiveness. We see like that mad dog that
Mhm.
it's inside you, dude.
Yeah.
Like that meanness, that the thing that you want to like play rough and dirty. Like we see it in boxing when you're sparring. That's one thing that I take away when I do boxing. People see a different side of me, and it's just like it's not the type of side that you want to be right next to me. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because in a certain sense, it's like survival, dude.
Yeah.
When you're in the ring, it's kill or be killed. You know.
And it is. Yeah, I know. I've been. I remember my friend. He goes like 30%, 40%
Mm-hmm.
when he punches me, and we do no
Headgear.
no headgear, no mouthpiece or anything like that. And one time he clogged me, and we're best friends. We're best friends. I didn't want to tell him because if I would have told him, he would have like cooled off. But he would have gone from 40 to 5%. But my mouth was bleeding, dude, like from inside, and I
Mhm.
just started spitting like blood, and
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I should wear my mouthpiece. But yeah. But boxing is no joke,
No,
man. When you
no.
do it.
Honestly, boxing is like it has to be one of the toughest sports out there.
Yeah, don't worry, Brandon. It's all good.
Like it tests your character so much, your will, your courage. Like you're alone up there, and you
Yeah.
have all your
Look, I'm wearing
families.
these
Like,
boxing gloves. Dude, I don't want to get hit by these, man. I'm fucking socking myself. That shit hurts.
Yeah.
People say they're pillows. Hell no.
Nah.
Yeah, nah.
Fuck that. Let me punch you with one of these.
Yeah, to me, like because I used to, box a little bit as a kid, and
Yeah.
the two sports I think are the toughest is boxing and cross country, because you're pushing your body to like the absolute like
Yeah, you don't have to tell
So-
me about cross country.
to like exhaustion, and you're alone. It's not like soccer. It's not like basketball where, like you have other teammates, and
Yeah.
if they mess up, then you lose. You can't really blame. You're alone.
You know,
Yeah,
and
and you have
it's-
your corner that can go out there and tell you, oh, fucking throw more, tira loper,
So,
do this, do that. But at the end of the day, it's all you in there, dude.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
So-
one thing that, and I'm not trying to copy, but it's something I can relate. So on one of the trailers for Creed 2, Adonis was talking about you learn something about yourself every single round. Dude, that's exactly what happened in the marathon.
Yeah.
Every single mile, like you learn something about yourself. And like I said, towards the end, like I should have been dead. I should have been dead, but like I found something, because at the end of the day, like cross country and boxing, you're literally by yourself. You have support. Like, yeah, all that's good. I could have told you guys to support me, or anything like that, but I am literally
Mhm.
by myself, just like the boxer
Yeah.
in general.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
It's
the
like-
thing about boxing too is like, it's overall, dude. Like you need stamina. Like I'm sure a lot of boxers can like do track, cross
Mhm.
country, all that shit. You need a chin. You need to be able to take hits.
Yeah.
What was one of the Rocky quotes? Oh man, I'm gonna pull it up, but it has something to do with getting hit.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not about how hard you get
can
hit. It's how hard you can take a hit, something like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
keep
I think
going
it's,
forward.
it's not about
Mhm.
how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things too. Like, it's inevitable in boxing. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
You can play soccer, you can play basketball, you can play even football, dude, because you're well protected with all the guards,
Yeah.
with all that shit.
And I mentioned to you last week, everybody here that I was talking about like I was sparring,
Mhm.
and Lily was talking about Adrian Broner. Will he let his hands go? You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I'm like, Lily, like, let me tell you something. If you put yourself in that situation, sometimes it's really hard to
Yeah.
let your hands go. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned, like sometimes it's just basic instinct.
Yeah.
You're just trying to protect your face because you don't want to get hit in the face, like
Mhm.
But
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, in boxing, no matter what, you're gonna get punched in the face.
yeah,
With soccer, you can avoid getting slide tackled, or you can avoid getting your ankles hit.
Mhm.
With basketball, you can avoid getting your eyes poked or whatever.
the first
You know?
the first time I ever sparred with somebody during the summer, it was funny because he was noticing that I was moving a lot, like Lara.
Yeah.
I was moving like left to right, and he was getting tired of it.
Mhm.
And he's like, dude, you got to get used to getting punched. I'm like, nah, like I'm trying to like not get hit punched, but like
Mhm.
he was trying to let me know like at some point I'm going to
Yes.
get gassed out
Yeah.
and I have to learn how to take a punch.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I remember talking about the Triple G fight against Canelo, right? We're like, why didn't he throw any body shots? Remember?
Mhm.
Both fights. And we're like, dude, only he knows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Only he knows, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abel doesn't know,
Nope.
Mhm.
But I am still looking forward
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Saturday. And you know what? And that was almost a iffy, dude,
Mhm.
because there's actually a rock concert that I've been meaning to go in Orange County.
Yeah.
And it was just like, because I
Yeah.
was going to be this close to paying for the tickets like 2 months ago.
Mhm.
And then when you told me November 3rd, I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this sucks.
Yeah, and there was a Tropicalia concert too. No, yeah, I get my birthday there, like that day too.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
here I am complaining, right? Why am I complaining?
but man, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but
Yeah,
to be.
That's going to be great.
real
man.
talk.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be streaming live on Facebook, All Star MMA and Boxing. We're going to link that up. It's going to be great, man. We're going to shout
Yeah.
out this show, too. We're going to shout out KDHR to do a
Mhm.
great job with all these shows. And yeah, it's going to be exciting, man.
Saturday night.
Yeah, so yeah, that was exciting conversation.
Yeah, and dude, like, it's crazy that I just mentioned KDHR. We forget that we're, like, within walking distance of the StubHub Center.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm.
We've seen so many great fights here, and I want to do, like, a segment later on about that StubHub Center
No,
side
definitely.
arena.
Ooh.
Right? Because,
Mhm.
dude, we can literally walk 3 minutes that way. And
Yeah,
The
every
arena's
time
right
we come
there.
to the fights, we park here.
Yeah, it's like we feed off that energy, right?
Yeah,
from
and
all
I know
those
we all have
classic
like
fights.
different experiences going. You like the floor seats. You sit next to your favorite boxers.
Oh yeah, I got
Mhm.
pictures of
Um,
me, Andre Ward,
Mhm.
who else? Gobolev, Felix Verdejo.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you
Get
see
your act
Mikey
together.
Garcia?
I got Mikey.
You got a signed autograph poster,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you gave it to me. I still
Yeah.
have it.
I got a picture with Loma before, like he was like,
When he blew up.
yeah.
Damn,
I was like, they just told me, oh, he's the Olympic gold medalist. I was like,
You got an
okay,
exclusive interview with Max Kellerman.
I
Remember, I still
did,
have that
with
video.
Max, yeah. Man,
Wow.
no.
Yeah, dude. So I want to do a segment on that later on.
Oh, I even took a picture with Jim Lampy, but it got deleted somehow.
Oh.
Ah. Yeah, definitely talk about the stuff. But something about that, that little, tennis field, boxing stadium gets people going, man.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way to transition for sure. Like if you were to have like a video game, right, with venues and stuff like that, what type of venues will you think you'll have on that game? You'll have Las Vegas, obviously, right? For sure, the
Mhm.
StubHub, right?
Mhm.
And you also have
The Forum,
the Forum,
Mhm.
MSG,
MSG, yeah, right? And the Brooklyn,
the
Wembley.
Wembley for Anthony Joshua.
Mhm.
the Dallas Stadium, right? Don't they have
Dallas Stadium will
Dallas.
be another one. What other ones?
Where does Terrence fight? Out of Omaha?
Omaha. No, they will not do that specifically for him. You gotta
the
get
Oracle
Gio.
Arena for Andre Ward,
I know, right?
The big, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Staples Center,
Staples Center. Yeah, they
December
actually had that.
1st, Tyson Fury versus Wilder.
Yeah,
And dude, I wanted to mention that too
Mhm.
because boxing's coming back to LA. We went to that Mikey Garcia fight against
Against
Easter?
Easter Junior.
Easter Bunny.
I forgot that you
Yeah.
guys went to that fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
It was
Was
fun,
it a
man.
good event?
Yeah.
It was a good
overall?
event. King Kong Ortiz was
Forgot
in
about that.
fight. I don't remember who else, but we were there early.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We are there early to watch the fights.
Got a few drinks. It was fun.
Yeah, had a few drinks. Oh, we met Leo Santa Cruz and his father
Oh
at
yeah.
one of the bars nearby.
That's where I took the bad pick.
Yeah, it was funny because we were gonna go to what's that place? Yard House.
Yard House.
So
Yeah.
like, hey, let's go get a drink real quick, and then Leo was just walking by. I guess he was doing an autograph signing
Mhm.
at that bar with his dad, and then we went to the bar and the guy next to us, he was having some drinks too, and he was from up north actually.
Hmm.
And he's like, yeah, every time there's a fight in LA, I like to come out. And he said he likes to stay in the hotel like right next to that LA Live. So he said like all the guys stay there. He said he saw Adrian Broner. Yeah, he said he saw like all the boxers. He said
Damn.
like even Easter, I think he was staying there. But
And you know what? I think you bring an interesting point, and it's something that I observe with boxing, that it's easy boxing is accessible for you to meet your favorite boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of easy to meet your favorite boxer.
Yeah.
Whether it's at the stadium, you probably hang out, kick it with them, or just like at the day at the weigh-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like really exclusive.
Yeah.
It's really like inclusive
Mhm.
to participate or to try to have a conversation. Like you said, you met Max Kellerman,
Mm-hmm.
me talking to SOG and Kobolev and Felix Verdejo. I actually saw Victor Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
You guys remember? I saw Victor Ortiz. Like, nope, I ain't gonna take a picture with him. Everybody was just trying to die for a picture, and I was like, nah, I know
Yeah,
my
and
place.
We've been to the
Mhm.
wild card a couple of times.
Talk with
Pretty
Freddie all the
accessible.
time.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
never gonna go there.
We saw, who was it? Was it Brian Viloria? He was
Veloria.
training there that one time?
Yeah, Kid Chocolate.
Oh,
as well.
Yeah, you seen Kid
Kid Chocolate.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw him. I was like, that guy is wearing Kid Chocolate. But I was like, he's kind of small.
Didn't you ask him if he was
Yeah.
ready for who was it, Martinez?
For
or
Martinez,
Triple G,
he's
or-
all like, oh no. He's pretty honest. He's all like, oh, we're not ready for him, like. But yeah, pretty accessible.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And I mentioned LA because LA sports are popping nowadays, man. The Rams are what, 8-0? Are they for real? You watch football?
I watch
Watch
football.
American football.
Yeah. Rams. They were for real last season, and now this season it's like kind of bittersweet because I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan since
Mm.
like 2004. Wait, nah,
Michael Vick?
no, my favorite player has been yeah. No, Michael Vick is like the Michael Jordan dude back then, but yeah, I've been Eagle fan since like Donovan McNabb. He was my favorite quarterback. He used to be in the cover of Madden and all that, but. Why am I talking about this? Because Gio brought it up, but yeah, LA is
Let it out,
popping.
Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with
Yeah, the Dodgers.
Zlatan,
Well, they were in
Lakers, Dodgers, yeah.
The Dodgers are in the World
Yeah.
World Series, but they
LAFC.
lost.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, LAFC is actually playing tonight. They're
Yep.
playing Real Salt Lake for the playoffs. So
Oh,
Shout
hopefully
out
they
to
can pull it off.
LAFC.
Yeah, put LA in the map, but this place is gonna be rocking on December 1st. Big
Yeah.
heavyweight fight. So
And you mentioned like one of the potential
Can I
superstars.
sign one?
that
Can I
would-
sign one of those too?
LeBron James, right? You know, you said he could potentially be there at the show.
I think he
supporting
should be.
Deontay Wilder.
He should be.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Support.
big event, dude. And
I think
you
he
always
will.
see Floyd Mayweather here in LA for
Mhm.
the basketball
Lakers, yeah.
games. He was there at the fight, right? When they fought against the Rockets.
Yeah.
He was-
Yeah.
he was
Front row.
Is there?
Yeah, and he was just
You
laughing.
know, he's instigating
probably
everything.
proud.
Yeah, he's probably proud at Rondo. But yeah, like we talked about the stadiums, right? Like the StubHub, Barclays Bay, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, and the Oracle.
You know we're lucky, dude, because we have the StubHub Center, we have the Forum, and we have Staples Center.
Yeah,
That's 3 very good venues.
yeah. Well,
They all have their history, dude. I remember we were there too at the first fight, back at the Forum when they started bringing it back. It was Juan Manuel Marquez against Mike Alvarado, I think.
Yeah, I remember. I think that's
We're
the
there at
first
that
fight
fight.
that came back
Yeah.
at the Forum.
Yeah, that was the first fight that came back. That was a good fight. It was good good atmosphere. We actually saw some fights like 10 rows ahead of us too. Like people fighting. Yeah,
And,
shit was
and the
crazy.
thing is, like, we have weather
Yeah,
in
on a big
California. Like, that's why we're able to watch great fights at the StubHub.
Yeah.
Because it's not closed down. It's always like great weather. But yeah, the only reason why I don't want to talk about the stadiums is because we used to had a fight night championship game that came out back in 2011, and ever since then there hasn't been no boxing game.
No game since 2011.
Like no major provider, in this case PlayStation or Xbox, has provided us with a new platform game for a boxing game and just in general. And I remember we were having a conversation about UFC.
Mhm.
How UFC, like, we're kind of a little bit in disagreement about how UFC cannot be that popular as boxing. But
Mhm.
if you look at EA Sports,
They've had a game every.
they've been having games consistently.
Mhm.
And more than recently with UFC 3, that happened in February of this past year. So a lot of us are always skeptical about, like, how come there isn't no boxing game, right?
Mhm.
And you know me, I like to look at things from a political standpoint, and
Yeah.
it's really hard to have a boxing game, So on Friday, when I was watching, was it Friday? Yeah, on Friday I was watching a Dodger game, and I was looking at the Instagram, and I was bored, so I was just like, let me pull up this old classic game, HBO Boxing,
Mhm.
and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like put it right there and see how people react,
Yeah.
and I did, and it had me thinking. So HBO, when they came out with that game, they had their own network fighters in that game.
Okay.
They didn't have no Showtime fighters. It was just pure HBO
Just
fighters.
HBO.
And I
Hmm.
was thinking, you know what? That's kind of interesting.
That's why that was like last year.
And I'm just saying, like, that's kind of interesting if, I don't know. I mean, if you look at UFC, right, they have their own
It's
league.
all under the
Yeah.
same umbrella.
All
It's like
under the
WWE.
same umbrella, right?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with
You
this.
see where I'm going with this? And then you see HBO back in 2000 when they came out. It was only the fighters in that network, right?
Mhm.
And then you have this series called PBC, right? Which they have like about like 200 fighters, right?
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
and this recently passed like spring year, you had Floyd Mayweather talking about he's already in the development of making like a video game. Whether it's real or not, you never know.
Mhm.
But one thing that is worth noting is that he mentioned the fact that at his gym he has VR headsets to train. Like, so if you think about that, that's kind of interesting because
VR stands for what again?
virtual reality headset. And so whether it's Oculus Drift or whatever, but just in case and just in general, just recently we had a game that just came out in September regarding Creed, The Rise of Glory, and that's virtual reality headset.
Hmm.
So, I just started, hitting the bags and stuff like that. But, let me ask you guys a question. When you guys play FIFA, do you guys learn something about the game that you could try to like bring
Oh,
it
yeah,
into real world?
definitely. I remember
In
when
what
I was-
way? Tell me.
I remember when I was in middle school, I always tell my friends, like, I would make fun of my friends that suck. I'll be like, man, you need to play more FIFA. Dude. I'll tell them that. I think in a sense of like tactically, because in FIFA you got to set up your lineup,
Hmm.
and you see the shit that happens. Like, let's say you put 3 defenders, you try to go all out, and then the other team fucking counters you. You know what I'm saying? And I used to play center mid, so like my main thing was just positioning. So when you're doing FIFA and you're fucking misplacing people, like that shit affects you.
What about you, Chris? When you play FIFA, do you take anything away from it and try to incorporate it and try to learn from it when you're playing in the real world?
Well, I personally don't play a lot of video games.
Okay.
But the few times that I have,
I learned from Mario Kart.
But the few times I go over to my
That
friend's
makes
house,
sense how he drives then.
the few times that I have gone over and played, like you kind of do see what you said. You're like the tactical, you know, like the spacing and stuff. So I do.
And
I
even
do see
some
that.
of the moves, dude. Like
Mhm.
I remember in
Mhm.
FIFA, I loved doing the Ronaldinho bicycle when the
yeah,
player would come
Yeah.
on.
we see
And
that in indoor.
yeah, that was like my
Mhm.
go-to move.
Yeah, dude. And one of my favorite games of all time, because it's personal to me, was NBA Live 04.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't started playing soccer until I was in high school. But man, I'm not saying that I was good at basketball, but like I could hang in there because I was like literally playing my ass off from elementary, middle school, and then 9th and 10th grade because I was always constantly playing NBA Live,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like kind of good at it when I was
Yeah,
at
that
the
shit
park.
works.
That shit does work, man.
Mhm.
So I'm saying that
It was
go
so interesting. My bad, dude.
Mhm.
It was so interesting because I was actually thinking about playing Fight Night again. 'Cause
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
all
yeah.
the Fight Night games, dude.
right.
So I got to bring it back my PS3 and shit. But I'm like, now like, one of my favorite things about that game was the counter punching. And you know, one of our friends, when he plays Fight Night, he just goes all out, throws 1,000 punches, right?
Mm.
And you can just counter him to death, right? So that was one of my favorite parts. Like, actually, like, you make your guy like lean back, counter,
Yeah.
and then that counter punch comes.
Right.
Like, so it's interesting that you bring that up, man.
Yeah, so can you imagine how can that have an effect having a virtual reality headset? In this case, that game with Creed, right, where you're throwing jabs.
Oh, it's fucking
Like
crazy.
you're gonna be sweating, dude.
Yeah.
Don't
Have you guys
put on.
ever tried the?
I tried on a headset for Call of Duty. This was like probably
was
like
that?
2 years ago. It was kind of like, it's just weird
Yeah.
because you look all
I
stupid.
tried it for I don't know what game it was, but I was like on a roller coaster. It was like a shooting game. You have to shoot all these like crazy clowns popping
Yeah.
up and all this shit. And one of them, like you're on a roller coaster, so it really seems like you're fucking going down with the roller coaster. So I was like tripping out. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that thing was crazy. I can only imagine the boxing one.
Yeah, so you can only imagine how can that have an effect as a person that wants to
Mhm.
train in boxing,
Yeah.
right? So, and the thing is, you mentioned about how you haven't played Fight Night, right? When's the last time you played Fight Night,
It's got to be like 2-3 years.
right? So one thing that came out this past May,
Mhm.
Xbox One came out with the Fight Night edition for you to play it in Xbox One. So the game
Oh,
that came
okay.
out 7 years ago, you're now able to play it in Xbox One,
Mm.
which had me thinking like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Right. So the possibilities of how is mainstream boxing going to affect into the popular pop culture, in this case, video games, right? So
Mhm.
I think you're going to see a rise of potential of maybe a new Fight Night series or a PB series boxing game.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's the one with the most fighters.
And that's
but
with the
I don't
most
know if we're
fighters.
gonna dive into this, but it's so hard to make a game, dude, because of all the licensing.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said,
Yes.
each boxer is his own independent, and that's why you never saw Floyd Mayweather in any of the games.
Yes. And that's one of the things that, my friends always talked about. Like, how come,
Yeah.
why do you think there's not, I always tell them, like, this is how you look at boxing. Each fighter is promoted with their own network, but not their own network, but they're also promoter. So there's two
Mhm.
things going on. And like, even like soccer players, Ronaldo, he's not licensed by his own image. Like other investors have his own image.
Mm.
So you have to go through them instead of going to Ronaldo, for his access. That's why, what's the other popular game besides not FIFA? If there's a other soccer game?
PS,
P-
Pro Evolutionary
yeah,
Soccer.
yeah, they have to buy rights
Yeah.
from the clubs and from the players.
Yeah, I
So-
remember they didn't even used to have the official kits.
Yep.
Or the league license to, show the actual names of the teams or certain players.
So that's why it's so easy for you to have a game like UFC
Yeah.
Mhm.
because
It's
it's all
all
in one
under
league.
one
You get
umbrella.
everybody.
It's like WWE. You're gonna have every single character.
Yeah.
Right.
Even the old ones, the legends. I remember Michael Jordan wasn't in any of the NBA. Was it 2K series?
Yeah.
He wasn't in any of them for the same reason.
Good ass point. In the UFC 3, they have 234 fighters, 10 different weight classes. So and when you look at Fight Night Champion, there's basically only about like probably 54 fighters, Chris.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's it.
And probably like half of them are like from back then.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like the most recent
Mhm.
notable current fighters that I could come up with, it's either Gamboa,
Mhm.
Daniel Jacobs, who else? I know I'll put it on the Instagram page.
So these are all 2011.
Yeah, these are all
Jacobs
2011.
was in it. He
Yeah,
was not in
Daniel,
it.
he's in it, dude.
Dang.
Daniel Jacobs was in that
Daniel
game.
Daniel Jacobs is in it.
I gotta go back to this, dude.
I'm not
What the
lying.
hell?
I haven't played. Yeah, that Fight Night in forever.
It wasn't one of the creative players.
No, I got you. This is what I post.
Had against the ropes.
Manny Pacquiao,
Against DA ropes.
Mhm.
Instagram.
Nonito Donaire, Gamboa, Victor Ortiz,
Yeah.
Daniel Jacobs, Erislandy Lara, and Chris Ariola.
Dang, that's 2011, big time.
Mhm.
Like, that's
Yeah.
when,
And when I talk, those are the only current fighters that are
Yeah.
fighting right now.
They'll
They're-
have like De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez, Mike
so
Tyson.
so names
Gold.
like the both Klitschko's, Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, Holyfield, Osceola,
honestly, like
Hopkins.
sometimes we like don't like realize like sometimes hobbies like that, playing video games, that's promotion itself for the sport too. You're playing video games with your buddies, like like hey, let's watch the fight like 2 weeks from now. Like that all hurts.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about playing Fight Night, dude.
Mhm.
If you play FIFA or Madden, and if you lose, you lose.
Yeah.
But in Fight Night, I remember this with me and my cousin. Like sometimes we get really emotional, dude. And it's not nice when you get emotional when you're fighting a fight in the video
Mhm.
game. Hey, let's do this in
Yeah.
the real world.
Yeah.
You know, forget the virtual reality headset. We could just get the Reyes gloves.
Yeah, I remember sometimes being really pissed. I remember one fight in particular, like I was dominating, I was doing my boxing shit, and then I get knocked out, like against a guy with a lot of power, and I was fucking heated. I'm like, man, that's some bullshit. Fucking video game. I was winning this fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the only reason why I want to talk about this subject is because you kind of feel the sense that when you have a fighter like Canelo Alvarez making this amount of money,
Yeah.
and when you have now not Showtime and HBO competing, but now you have ESPN, something that we always see, always on TV, and also on Fox, like that's going to help out and put pressure on EA Sports or 2K Sports. I mean, come on, dude. They have 2K for wrestling, dude. That's
Mhm.
ridiculous, dude. But part of it is because they have their own league, It's
Mhm.
not just other fighters. So I think we always say there might be a boxing game next year. But the fact that we saw this game, Rise to Glory with Creed, gives us an idea, probably a potential that, can you imagine when we have virtual reality headset, when we have a new Fight Night series? In this case, it could probably be PBC next year.
Mhm.
And that's why Floyd Mayweather's mouth, he's a smart man. This is an easy way for you to make money.
Mhm.
And the thing is, a lot of in politics in general, we wait for the hurricane, and then we make a policy
Mhm.
to try to prevent it. We're
Yeah.
always
Reactive.
reactive, right?
Mhm.
So I want to be proactive about this. The only reason why I'm saying is because today I actually contacted the company that actually made this game, Rise to Glory.
Mhm.
So I want to really talk to them and see if I could get some analysis about how was the game developed. Did you get any access towards real world fighters?
Yeah.
Did they had any input into it, or was it just people in the tech industry making the fight game? So
Mhm.
that's one thing that I want to incorporate and try to see if I could pick their brains. But also more importantly, man, there's always out there petitions for change and stuff and shit like that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so this weekend, probably on Sunday when I'm bored, I'm going to probably make a petition, dude, and see if I could get people just to try to come up with a petition and send it to EA Sports or 2K Sports and have people put pressure. I know it's not going to create that much of a message, but I'm just saying just in general, like yesterday,
Plant that seed.
like yesterday, dude, I saw this guy in a
Mhm.
forum. He had Adrian Broner, Marquez, Canelo, Triple G, Mayweather, and Fight Night. He created and
Yeah.
downloaded those fighters, dude. He put in the time, dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I used to download these fighters all the time. I even created some guys of my own. They weren't professional boxers. They're our friends. We used to spar at the park, but I still
Spar
created them.
at the park.
I have videos too.
Shout out to Sharpie.
Yeah. What was it that got Sergio with the left hook or?
Yeah.
The sharpshooter. That sharp left hook. Took him down.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting what happens, and I think the fact that we're really excited with boxing, we could probably
Mhm.
see it in the future. And I mentioned you don't have to wait for a Fight Night series to watch boxing, but maybe I do. I always like to talk about boxing, but
Yeah.
that is that regarding that subject.
Fight night.
Is there any random news that you want to talk about, Chris? There's a couple of things I do want to mention, but if you want to just elaborate or just me, just do.
Let me think. If you have something you want
I
to share,
have
bro.
something.
Go ahead.
Remember going back to that journeyman thing?
Yeah.
All right, so Jarrett Hurd is gonna fight
Okay.
on the undercard of Tyson Fury
I
against
wanna-
Deontay
That's right,
Wilder.
yeah.
You beat me
Staples
to it.
Center,
You beat
December
me to it.
1st. my
Doing it-
story is not necessarily on that. You know who he's fighting?
I don't know. Who is he fighting, Gio?
He is fighting a guy. Jarrett Hurd, by the way, is 22-0 with 15 knockouts. He'll face England's Jason Welburn, who is 24-6, 7 wins by KO. So he's fighting this guy, Welburn. Welburn lost to some guy named William Warburton. I know you saw that article too.
Oh, I guess you'll tell me.
So one of his 6 losses was to this William guy, right? He's British as well.
yeah.
William has a record. You ready? 26 wins, 144 losses.
Wait. He lost to that guy?
And 10 draws. He has won 5 wins by KO and only got it knocked out 2 times.
Damn.
Hey man, I needed that, man.
Can you believe that? This guy, he's the ultimate journeyman, dude.
Oh, God.
Let's see if my math
If
is
it's the
good.
same guy,
He
I
has
think, wow.
176 fights, and he's lost 144 of them.
But he's only been knocked out twice? Dang, got a chin.
You know, that's what I forgot to do today. I didn't have time, but I wanted to go on YouTube and watch his fights. But yeah, this guy fights like 3 times a month, 4 times a month. But yeah, this guy, he beat Jarrett Hurd's next opponent.
Oh, God.
He was one of the guys who beat him.
Wow.
And it was funny because I went on the guy's Twitter, and everybody was just kind of like trolling him. Like one guy tweeted him, and he'll actually respond and retweet them.
Heard?
No,
Oh,
guy with the 144 losses.
Oh,
I'll post it on our Instagram too.
Oh, you did?
No, I will.
Oh, you will.
But somebody tweeted him, next time someone talks badly of journeyman, point them at Will Warburn 1, which is the guy's. And
That's
this
cool.
guy, like, he retweeted him, which was pretty cool.
What did he explain?
But yeah. it
What did he
was-
say?
Huh?
What did he?
No, he
respond?
just, I forgot, dude. He just put, like, thumbs up or something. I don't know.
Oh.
He just put, like, right on or something like that.
Well, I was not. I mean, I was actually gonna talk about Jarrett Hurd, but not in that sense.
That's
dude.
fucking, dude, because I think I saw the post on ESPN, right? And I saw the 144 losses, and I'm like, that can't be right, dude. So I did my Googles, and I was like, holy fuck, dude. That's why when we're talking about the guys who have like 26 losses,
Yeah.
12 losses during the
Hold my
All-Star
beer.
boxing shows, it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, you know, speaking of Jarrett Hurd, and Dan Rafael, ESPN, was talking about a win could pave Hurd to meet Jermell Charlo in a unification fight in the first half of 2019 if Charlo wins his December 22 bout against Tony Harrison. So that'll be interesting. So PBC back at it again with that. So potential fight for 2019. Jermell Charlo versus Anthony. Jarrett Hurd, isn't his nickname Swift?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the real Swift.
He's a real.
For
So
some reason, I thought he was already his mandatory. I don't know why.
Who?
Charlo for Jarrett Hurd.
Man, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's a mandatory. So another, we talked about the 160 division regarding Daniel Jacobs. So David Lemieux, after defeating Spike O'Sullivan, so he's going to be on the undercard of Canelo, Canelo versus Fielding. In this case, he's going to be fighting, who's he fighting? TBA. To be announced.
Yeah.
No opponent yet. Yeah, that's a fighter I would not like to fight for sure. He's in the driver's seat for knockout of the year so far right now. But it'll be nice to see him fight. He's a fighter that puts people in the seats.
What you got, Chris?
For me, I mean, we missed this one fight, but this November 3rd, I mean, we have the show, but there's also another fight in Miguel Burchell taking on Mickey Roman, and that is in the junior lightweight division. And what other names do we have like in that division? We have Gervonta. Obviously, that's a fantasy fight, right, Chris?
Yeah. Farmer.
Fantasy fight as well.
Loma can kind of fluctuate between all those weights.
Yeah. So who can?
Leo Santa
Because
Cruz, right?
can Burchell, who can he possibly fight after this one that can really test him? Because he's a very good fighter. I've always thought like Loma would be sensible. They're both under the same promoter, correct?
Mm-hmm. So that could happen, but at the same time too, if Lomachenko comes as a victorious winner, which everybody predicts on December, that means that Lomachenko will have 2 belts from that 135 division. So that means that the other guy named Mikey Garcia has the other 2 belts. So they could probably have an undisputed championship, but at the same time too, like, who do you have Lomachenko fighting if there's nobody else remaining? So sucks. And it better not be no hold my beer moment when it comes down to Lomachenko. In this case, you're seeing like this crazy news operating between Mikey Garcia right now. And it's not, I don't want to talk about it that much specifically, but the potential of him fighting Errol Spence, all right? So you have a 135 fighter and a 147 fighter, right? And they're both going to fight, no catch weight. So 147, right? It better not be no hold my beer moment. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about, it better not be no fucking Lomachenko at 135 and Terrence Crawford at 147. Like, it better not be like that towards the end. I'm going to be mad as hell if that happens. And you never know what
Top
could
rank.
happen. That's that top rank, seriously. Another news that I want to talk about is, this is more political perspective, but I'll read it to you. It's from Dan Rafael. So welterweight Dusty Hernandez Harrison is 30-0-1 with 16 knockouts. Has been out of the ring various reasons since September 2016. Will return to face James Winchester, who's 40 years old, from North Carolina, in a 10-round fight in December 1. He'll be fighting in Washington. So here we go. Hernandez Harrison, who has parted ways with promoter Rock Nation Sports, turned pro at age 17 and was the first fighter signed by Rock Nation when it entered into the boxing business in 2017. He suffered a lone blemish on his record in a split draw between Mike Dallas in May 2016 in Washington, and then went on to win his next fights before the long layoff, because in a part of promotional dispute and legal issue between Rock Nation. So he hasn't fought since September 2016, dude. So he hasn't fought for literally like 2 years. And this is, again, like I mentioned in the last podcast, how Mikey Garcia, Andre Ward, and Sergio Martinez were all involved with legal disputes outside the ring that prevents them to fight. You know, it takes away your prime. In this case, you have finally Dusty Hernandez, a fighter who I never knew who he was, and now I'm able to know him. But sometimes fighters have to fight their fight outside the ring instead of inside the ring.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, did you guys know Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz 3?
God.
Promoted by Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah, when
I
is that?
saw that.
Forum, November 24th.
November 24th.
The first mixed martial arts show for Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah, I only have time to
It's
watch
interesting.
HBO, man. No. You know?
So something that we were hoping we get like breaking news with Triple G having talks with DAZN. I mean, it hasn't happened yet officially, but what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Not that I want to discontinue your question, but it kind of ties into your question, and this is for both of you. What are your expectations for the month of November for boxing?
Okay. November.
It'll slow down.
You think so? You have Usyk and Tony Bellew, then you have Creed, and the potential news of Triple G signing sometime soon, and people speculate that he might go into the
I
zone
don't really care that much, honestly, about that.
for Triple G. Why?
He only has like 2-3 good fights left in him. I'm more concerned about Mikey, Errol Spence, Lomachenko, Canelo.
What do you want Triple G to do?
I don't care. Get that money.
You just get the money.
Yep.
What do you think?
For November? I'm hoping we get some good breaking news that, to top off the year and to just give us kind of like a good idea of what, 2019 has, especially in January, February. I'm pretty sure DAZN wants to start the year off with a bang, and so hopefully we get, a good idea of what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, and if Triple G doesn't sign to the zone, then more than likely he's going to sign with ESPN. So, and this is all speculation, but you can see it on the writing on the wall already. So, will Triple G do a hold my beer moment too? So when we look at who Top Rank or who ESPN has, they have Gilberto Ramirez at 168. So Triple G could probably fight for that belt.
Yeah.
There's news that Jaime Mungai is going to
A
part
headline.
ways
Mhm.
after Golden Boy's next fight in January. So you never know. We could
Mhm.
probably have Triple G versus Mungai. So
Mhm.
those are two fighters with an ESPN that could fight Triple G, and those are two hell fighters to
Yeah.
watch. So that'll be really exciting, but really dangerous.
Yeah, and they could also put him against the guy that upset Ryota, Rob Grant guy.
Did you ever saw that fight? I didn't even saw highlights of it.
I saw highlights of it.
Hmm. How did he look like?
He looked good. He looked
Yeah.
very athletic, and
Hmm.
Ryota looked, he seemed a little confused, like he didn't know how to react to the athleticism of Grant,
Okay.
and so
All right. Anything else before you want to close the show?
Yeah, I wanted to add Jacobs did like 500,000 views for his fight.
Oh yeah.
500K? Okay.
They released
Y-
500,000.
Yeah, but I heard that it didn't make that much money.
Nah, so that was a dud. But it was
Yeah.
competing against the World Series. I think that happened that day. It had
True.
like 13
Yeah.
million
True.
views.
True.
Mhm.
It's not like they're competing, but even then, HBO is a dud. They're dead.
Yeah, based on numbers.
Sorry to say it, but
Yeah, my final thoughts: if HBO does go, and the Zone, and Al Heyman, they rise to power, I would like to see them, do just not just provide fights, but like add storylines the way 24/7, the way Legendary fights.
Oh, the Zone.
Yeah, I hope they add that, because that adds like that human factor where you get to see behind the scenes, and you get to know the fighter in a more personable level. And so I like to see that if not saying they're gonna hear us, but I'd like for that to happen, because that's what made HBO the standard. And if someone else is gonna rise, I hope they they bring that quality to the sport of boxing.
And I think my last final note for this show is the expectation of a member. Two fighters need to control the conversation of boxing. And that's Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, because the first day of December is going to be them fighting. So they need to do a hell of a promotion to try to get these people to try to buy into the idea of buying pay-per-views for Showtime, because a lot of people are criticizing the Showtime, or more importantly, pay-per-view is not going to exist anymore. It's just pure subscription. So Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, you're going to put a hell of a fight inside. We already know that, but your mouths and your persona and your character has to develop outside the ring, because a lot of people expect a good fight, but Al Heyman, he needs to deliver on this with Deontay Wilder finally being a pay-per-view star.
Yeah, I think I want to add something to that too. I think a lot of Showtime fighters, a lot of fighters in general, need to learn how to sell themselves outside of the ring.
And that's one thing about Adrian Broner.
Yeah, and
Jerome.
I'm just gonna bring up Jerome. Do you guys remember when they announced the PBC fighters that were all in their suits?
Yeah.
And everybody was just being pretty calm and chill until Adrian Broner opened his mouth and he's like, I don't like any of y'all. I don't know why I'm here with y'all. I don't like any of y'all. And then he started that's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sucks people in, because you just see everybody in suits. You're just like, oh, they look good, but so what?
Well, you remember what he said after he defeated John Molina?
No, what he said.
Remember? I'll fight anybody.
Oh, anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it.
Yeah, that's entertainment, and that's what these fighters. I know, we talked about this that Terrence Crawford, he's quiet. Errol Spence, he's kind of quiet, but it gets to a point where they need to sell themselves.
And that's that. What do you have something to say, Gio? That's it.
I think that's it. November 3rd.
November
Clyde
3rd.
Cannon.
Saturday. This Saturday.
Montebello, California.
Can't
All-Star
wait.
Boxing Promotions.
Can't wait.
We're doing ringside commentary for that show. We'll link you guys up.
Yeah. And next week we'll talk about the hype between Usyk and versus Tony Bellew. That should be good.
Okay. And we will announce the winner for our All-Star show via our Instagram. So
We should be at Buffalo Wild Wings announcing it.
Yeah, by the time you listen to this, the winner would have already been named, and pretty sure they're going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see some visuals for this too. We have Don King in the house. We have Canelo in the house.
Where's my flags at?
Should we on
Only in America. Can we get a picture with Canelo?
It's been a good show.
All right, man. See you guys next week.
Thank you for tuning in. See you guys